So I'm uploading this. I was originally going to do this tomorrow because I'm kind of running out of time. I'm trying to read my books and everything. But I have a few minutes now, and usually these Omnibus Friday videos are very, very quick. So this is the final episode of Omnibus Fridays, and after that, I'm going to first, because I had a comment, gave me a really good idea, that said, you can see yesterday's video for that. That was I'm going to put it in the end card here, because I really want to watch that, is the, well, honestly, all my commenters have watched it already, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but my complete January graphic novel haul. Speaking of which, we're going to comment tomorrow, so you'll have another one to see. And it's just one book, so it'll be very, like today's video will be very quick. Just going to show the comic what it is, and then show the artwork, who writes it, who draws it, and then that'll be it. But today's video will be on the Bitterroot Omnibus. Now, there are a few things that, first of all, you got a ribbon here, which I think every big book like this should come with a ribbon. Maybe even indie publishers, and maybe not just indie publishers too, because the only two I can think of off the top of my head was Lady Killer and then this, and Lady Killer was deluxe edition. Now this is as big as a deluxe edition from Image Comics, but it is not as tall as the deluxe edition. That's like absolute size. The deluxe editions are omnibus size. And then, I don't know what I'm doing now. I was trying to do. I was trying to show off. Not show off. I was trying to. I was reading it basically, as if I was reading it. When I leave off, can I put the ribbon in the right place thing? I was really distracted. So here's the artwork. The artwork is absolutely fantastic. Everything about this comic is fantastic. Now, this is one that I have read all the way through. Now, as I was trying to say, I got sidetracked. So this is the last episode of Omnibus Friday, so I'm just going over the books, like how I would do with the comic haul. It's kind of going over the books, and if I've read it before or read some of it, I will say whether I've liked it or not. All the ones I've liked so far, all the ones I've liked so far, but I'll tell you how I feel about the book so far. But this book I have read all the way through. Now I read this in paperback format. So this will be my first time. When I do where I do get down to rereading it, I completely lost my train of thought. When I get down to rereading it, I will probably know. I was trying to say the oversized format will be much better for me because I haven't read it in this oversized format yet. I've read it in the trade paperbacks, but honestly, I can't say that I would remember the way I read it. I remember, obviously, certain parts of the book, and, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm trying to say how I wouldn't notice it because it's been so long since I've read the book. I remember, oh, yeah, the artwork, oh, yeah, this, oh, yeah, that. But I won't remember, it won't be oh, it seems oversized because I read it last time in trade paperback format. Anyways, this is written by David F. Walker, created by David F. Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green. But it's actually written by, of course, it doesn't say it right here, but it's written by Chuck Brown and David F. Walker. Now, David F. Walker is a writer that I really do like. I've read, at the top of my head, I have read his Nightwing, I said Nightwatch and Nightwing, Nighthawk series. I'm actually rereading it right now for this week's, the books I've read, the books I've read before. For the books, this week's books, and the books I'll be reading the next few weeks, that video, it's mostly library books. I may as well just call it a library haul at this point. But it's kind of weird to call it that. But basically, I'm rereading it right now. I like it a lot better. Spoilers, I like it a lot better so far than I did the first time around. And I'm over halfway done with the book. It's 6 issues. I've read 4 out of 6. And I'm liking it a lot better. Chuck Brown has written Flawed and On the Stump. Flawed, I honestly wish the two books were, Flawed was called On the Stump and vice versa, because ironically enough, On the Stump is a very flawed Chuck Brown book, but Flawed is a really damn good book. So kind of ironic for irony's sake. I do want to reread On the Stump though. I do own that too. I actually own that and Flawed. I do want to reread On the Stump. Give it a second chance because it's been a while. I actually think I read that before this, because I remember for for last year's, as in 2022's December Christmas haul, the two, because I have kind of like a theme for my big comic hauls, like birthday and such as birthday and Christmas, and December 2022's was fantasy and unknown authors kind of thing. Not necessarily Robert Kirkman, because I was getting Image Comics too. Not necessarily Robert Kirkman or Karen Gillan, but like Brandon Thomas, Chuck Brown was not one of them. Brandon Thomas, Sarah Vaughn, the Luna Brothers, that kind of thing. And also I wanted to do a fantasy, because I stupidly thought that all of what I got was all they had for fantasy. It was a lot of books too. Don't get me wrong, but 50, like at least 50 of them? Come on now. And then I had a rude awakening, like, later on. It was stupid. I don't know why I thought I had everything. But this is a historical fiction comic. It takes place in the 1920s. Like with Nima Condition mentioned this in his review, and I have to agree with him wholeheartedly. He had said that this is a very untouched upon setting for a comic. Not a lot of comics take place in the 1920s. And that's a shame, because I think that's it's an interesting time period in American history, or just in history. So it touches upon racism, and you could argue that it's too. You couldn't even argue that, because you would have to. I feel like this is a book that even that crowd would like. The Usual Suspects, even they would say, yeah, this is politics done right. Think of Get Out. Like, Get Out has politics in it. It does deal with racism, and does. You know what they're trying to say and everything like that, and it's not exactly subtle. That's the whole point, but it has some like things in it that you go back to for Get Out, and it's also very smartly written. So was this. So when I remember really, really enjoying this, and I did not mind spending. It was actually $35 on this, but like I said many times before, I would not even mind paying full price. I got this almost half off, which is awesome. But even paying full price, I would not mind. Not only because it's a damn good hardcover, but because it's a damn good series. Now, there is one thing that I will give credit where credit is due, is that the low Omnibus, or deluxe edition hardcover supersized one, is $50, and it comes with the same amount of issues. This collects all 15 issues of Bitterroot plus the summer special. Does not even have the common courtesy to have the story that was included in the Image anthology. No, it just has those issues. And yeah, you could argue that's kind of a rip-off, that, same issue is very low and it's a taller book and that's $50, but it's not like Low was, that supersized hardcover was released like 10 years ago. It was released like, 5 years ago? And this was just released this past year, 2023. But I wouldn't even say that. Like, I would say that this is, honestly, it seems to be thicker than Low does. And also, I think it's kind of one of those things, you kind of, like, Low got off easy, maybe? I don't know. Maybe because Low was also a more popular series, so they thought more people would buy it, so they had it at a lower price, to be even nicer to the fans of that series for making it as popular as it was. I don't know. But this is yet another segue, is that I do think that this book needs to be... I do think this book is extremely underrated, and its writers are extremely underrated too. So I definitely recommend picking this up, and this is the last episode of Omnibus Fridays. I wanted to go out with a bang, kind of make one where I've read this series before, and to where it's still considered to be an omnibus, because it is as tall as an omnibus, not necessarily as thick, but as tall. Now this is 580 pages. Let's look it up. But it comes honestly, they have a Young Avengers omnibus that is around the same amount of issues as this is. And it looks like it's half the size of this book. That's from Marvel Comics. So maybe that has something to do with it too, is the paper quality, for why it's $60. But honestly, you can find it on Amazon and it's Amazon. Even though I have I'm very critical of Amazon's packaging, the way they deliver my books. Hardcovers, they've always been fine with. Maybe there's a little ding on one of the sides, but it's not going to affect the reading of the book at all. So Bitterroot. Bitterroot Omnibus. There is one thing with the binding that I think it's just me over analyzing it, I guess you could say. When I'm taking it out of my, because I take it tomorrow too. I wonder if Amazon eventually is just gonna have like everything in there. If you get it from Prime, yeah, it's still $36. Like everything on Amazon, no matter what, as long as it's available on Prime, free Prime shipping, there'll be tomorrow shipping. They already have today shipping. I was on Amazon today because I got a book. I was on Amazon today and I saw there was one thing that you can get today. Today. Not like, oh, you ordered it at 12 o'clock midnight. No, you ordered it like at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's crazy. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. So this is Bitterroot. Insanely good series. David F. Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green. Extremely underrated. Deserves its Eisner. Deserved to win its Eisner. And a series that I do want to see come back. Because I remember, from what I remember, it does kind of end on a bit of a cliffhanger. It's not to where, like, you would be, like, to where people would be not theorizing, but it's not to the point where you think, oh, this got canceled. It wasn't popular enough and it got canceled. No, I think it's just they told the story they wanted to tell. There are a few loose ends that could get tied up. Hell, maybe even that Image anthology story has the loose ends tied up. There is... So, if you want more Bitterroot after this, they have this really dumb thing, honestly, called Image Comics Anthology. And the reason why it's so dumb is because there's no, like, official hardcover release. Yeah, it's like... So, there's some stories for Bolero. Those are collected in that softcover. And then come in July, I'll be getting a Tales of the Unnamed by Jeff Johns that collects all the stories he did for the Image Comics Anthology. But it'd be really nice if they just came out with a huge hardcover that was like this, like an omnibus. They released it, because I did the math, because each issue is like 50 pages. You do 50 times 12, it's 12 issues. So let's do 50 times 12. That's roughly 600 pages. Oh, you didn't, oh, I was supposed to look up the, speaking of page numbers, I was supposed to say with Bitterroot. So Bitterroot has 528 pages. So you could do it. You could do a 600-page book. Yeah, I think some of them were like probably 54 pages, but you still couldn't do that. Trying to find a used acceptable condition for Amazon. See what it says. This copy for Bitterroot. This copy may contain significant wear, including bending, writing, tears, or water damage. This book is a functional copy, not necessarily a beautiful copy. A copy may have loose or missing pages and may not include the access code to CDs. How was Amazon allowed to release? How was Amazon allowed to sell that? It should be, if anything, it should be $5. You know, our loss that it was sent to this guy and he sent it back because it had water damage. And don't think Amazon wouldn't do that, but like they wouldn't make that mistake. I've gotten a water damage book before, like the Middle West, but that was just once. Hoping not ever again. Knock on wood. But yeah. But anyways, Bitterroot Omnibus, 528 pages of comics, and I will go over, you know what, those who stuck around to the end, I will go over the extras. So the extras, you have little essays here that were included in the back of the trade paperbacks. I don't know if they're included in the back of the actual issues. I doubt it. But you have little essays here, and I probably won't read them. Probably kind of unnecessary for someone like me, but I may come back to it. You never know. And it was just like essays. I don't think it was... I think it was just on the subject matter. I don't think it was written by the actual... Yeah, no, it wasn't. Because you have one by John Jennings. I think it is interesting. It fleshes out the world more of the story, and it makes the story more personal to the creators and to everyone. To hell, it could even be fans of the Bitterroot came up with these little stuff that make more sense for them to be included in trade paperbacks. Maybe it's from the fans of Bitterroot, and they tell their own stories of racism and their outlook on racism, race, and everything like that. And you get little, you also get little variant covers at the back here. I wish they would have, it would have been nice if they put them at the back of the book, you know, all at once, like they did with the Wayward Deluxe hardcovers, but, you know, it's fine. Then if I can find it, there is a really, really cool variant cover that I honestly, if I was a variant cover collector, I would already have bought this. I think it was towards the end. Middle here. Oh, it's not going to be here. So the binding issue, for those of you, so taking it out, it's just kind of like a, it's honestly, I can't even tell here. It just kind of feels like it, if I'm not careful enough taking it out of the shelf, each time I take it out of the shelf, because I like to flip the artwork of my comics, especially image comics, so I will often take out a book just to flip the artwork alone. Yeah, I know I should be reading them, but I got a lot to read. And honestly, I have been going back to my personal collection and reading a lot more. You will see a video me going over all the books I've read recently, kind of not recently, but all the books I've read from Image very soon here. Probably at the end of the month, because I am going to get a few, depending on the fact that I stick with them. I'm sure I will, but there'll be a lot of. Oh my god! You know what? Screw it. This is my favorite one. The by Mike Mignola. The one I was trying to look for is a mock-up, not mock-up, but it was a homage cover to Do the Right Thing, a Spike Lee movie that was very good, and then obviously, clearly, is one of their favorites too. But that, as they say, is that. See you guys tomorrow, and then Sunday. Nope, not Sunday. Just today and tomorrow. So you'll have. Cause I didn't do one Wednesday, did I? I could. The fact that I probably could have done a whole entire week's worth of videos. I had a couple videos I could have uploaded just, to fill in the gaps, but whatever. That's it. That's it.